Welcome to beautiful Manning Field here on this April afternoon, 5 p.m. as the St. Mary's Spartans host the Hamilton Wenham Generals. Last year, the Spartans finished up 11-9. They beat Fenwick in the first round of the playoffs and lost in the second round of the playoffs to Ipswich. So Coach Field in his fourth year here with the Spartans, and Coach Finley in his third year here with the Spartans. The Spartans are finishing up on a season of 11-9. So let's go to the half mark for the face. Looks like Hamilton Wenham's able to influence it. They do win the face 23 over to another midfielder, not able to field the ball cleanly. 15 looks down to an attackman. He finds 34. 34 moving that ball to X quickly. Quick substitution from the bench of the Hamilton Wenham Generals. Ball's loose, falls into the cross of number 10 out of Hamilton Wenham. He'll pass over to a midfielder, and they'll work from the top of the box. Back down to X. St. Mary's playing in a loose man defense, it seems to be here. Hamilton Wenham just really trying to test the boundaries. 34 looking for a quick aggressive defense by St. Mary's there, something we're not used to seeing out of them. Very good job by Matt Conley. Matt Conley, a strong player. Shot bounces off the cross of a St. Mary's defensive player back into the cross of Hamilton Wenham. Number 8 is up at the far side of the field. Over to 10 for the Generals. 10 back down to number 14. 14 passes to X. Hamilton Wenham looking to organize from behind the net. St. Mary's playing in a loose man defense here. Looking like we're going to have an ISO attempt for Hamilton Wenham up at the top of the box. Quick pass over to the left. He's working his way on to his right-hand side. Deeks back to the left. Shot. Saved by Quirk. That's his first of the day. Hamilton Wenham won't walk away with a goal here. As long as St. Mary's can transition over to Matt Conley, can't field the ball cleanly. Hamilton Wenham's there for the fight. 15's going to come away with the ball, passes down to an attackman. He's met with the cross of number 24. We have a little bit of laundry on the field from the referee. It was probably going to be unnecessary roughness. We'll go to the referee for the call. Hit to the head. That's going to result in a man-down situation for St. Mary's. I believe it was Joe O'Keefe on the hit. Joe O'Keefe came screaming in. If he didn't, then Hamilton Wenham would probably be celebrating their first goal of the game. The Generals will start with the ball in St. Mary's territory. Ball on the cross of number 10. He's got a lot of space. He'll work down to number 34. 34 back to the attackman. He's going to look up top for an assist and doesn't find it. 10 gets rid of that ball quickly. Over 15 back down to another attackman over to the X-player. Across the St. Mary's defense, that ball falls onto the ground. St. Mary's looking to clear. Number 17 out of the St. Mary's Spartans coming down with a nice scoop. Gets it over to an attackman, and St. Mary's is going to slow things down to try to get an offensive attempt. Great job by Damon Marabito on the scoop and then the dish. St. Mary's looking to play a little bit aggressively, and Hamilton Wenham answers. Brendan Laundrie testing his boundaries, is not getting a lot from the aggressive defense of the Hamilton Wenham Generals. He'll pass back up to a midfielder, and the midfielders will take their attempt from the top of the box. St. Mary's doing the best that they can to kill this penalty to even things back up. We got Zach Barden over there with the ball. Passes down to an attackman. He's coming in. He beats him to the right-hand side. He's met by a plethora of Generals defenders. He's going to work to get that ball back up to a midfielder and slow things back down. St. Mary's beats to the right. Shot on net, bounces off of the goalkeeper. That ball's going to roll out of bounds. St. Mary's is the first of the line, so they'll be able to maintain possession here. Inbounding for St. Mary's, number 35. He comes through one defender, loses that ball after a second check. 16 from Hamilton Wenham throws it out, hoping that a midfielder can work around and get that ball. We have another stoppage in the game. It looks like it's going to stay Hamilton Wenham ball. Play on foul. St. Mary's attack working to play against the clear. Brendan Laundrie able to scoop things up. He's on a fast break. Passes down to Nick Knapp. Knapp with the shot. Bounces off of the ground over the net. St. Mary's seems to be the first one to the ball after the shot attempt. They're going to maintain possession here. And we'll go to the X position. Nick Knapp met with some aggressive defense. Pulls back, tests his boundaries. Passes over to Laundrie. Laundrie up top to a midfielder. Quick attempt to beat right. He's able to get past the defender. Can he clean it up? Does he have a shot? He's going to try to take it. Doesn't find anything here. St. Mary's able to keep possession. Nick Knapp coming out of the X position. Met with some solid poke checks. Going to test the boundaries and see what the Hamilton Wenham Generals defense will give him. He dishes that back out to an midfielder up to the top of the line, number 7. He tries to beat into 2. He's met by 3 more. Still got that ball. Beats back left with a nice little roll dodge. Quick shot attempt. Bounces off the ground into the net. That's St. Mary's first of the game. St. Mary's 1, Hamilton Wenham 0. On the shot and score, number 7, Zach Burden. That's his first of the season. Barden, sorry. And we'll go to the half mark for the face-off. Christian Lebert wearing number 27 to take the face for St. Mary's. Marabito here at the lower end of your screen. Hamilton Wenham able to influence that. St. Mary's still staying strong. Conley comes away with the win on the face-off, and he's going to try to slow things down here. Timeout on the St. Mary's bench. St. Mary's doing a very good job offensively, taking their time, slowing things down, trying to test their boundaries, and seeing what the Generals present for them on defense. It looks like we've seen a lot of man matchups on both sides of the bench today. Hamilton Wenham doing a lot of dodging from up top, working to find open players for assists back at the X position. A couple questionable passes that resulted in a turnover for St. Mary's. St. Mary's has had the ball, I'd say, for a majority of this quarter so far. That being said, we're only about halfway through, but great first half of a quarter for St. Mary's here in the 2019 season. The Spartans are facing Hamilton Wenham here in their season opener. They finished last year with a record of 11-9, beating Fenwick in their first round of the playoffs and losing in the second round to Ipswich. Coach Field, in his 4th year here with the St. Mary's Spartans, done a terrific job with this program. Got the St. Mary's to their first playoff berth 2 years ago, and they're looking to get back there again this year and advance past the second round. So, after the timeout, St. Mary's puts the chalkboard down and works to get to work here offensively. Let's see what Coach Field put together for him. Knapp with the ball at the X position. Up top to a midfielder for St. Mary's. Finds a little bit of help from Laundrie. Laundrie looking to the left-hand side, comes back to the right, looking for an open St. Mary's attackman to dish the ball out to. He's got a lot of space on his left-hand side. He's going to need to roll back to his right. That defensive player will not let him go to the right-hand side. Brendan Laundrie, a good offensive player, does a really good job speed-wise. He's able to beat a lot of kids just on his feet, and I think he's going to have a little bit of a tougher time with 16. He's a pretty athletic kid. So after the inbound, St. Mary's tries on a wild shot attempt. That ball runs over the net. St. Mary's is there for the ball and the inbound. Joe O'Keefe on the shot. Laundrie there for the inbound, testing his boundaries again. He's going to get that ball up to number 7 for St. Mary's. Dodge attempt on the right. He beats 2. Is he able to come back inside? He tries for a quick little dish shot. Bounces off of the helmet of the goalkeeper out of Hamilton Wenham. Stoppage in game. Loose ball push call on St. Mary's is going to result in a clear attempt for the Hamilton Wenham Generals. He'll pass clear across the field to number 20 with the long stick. St. Mary's number 7 coming in there quickly, able to clean things up with a shot on net. Bounces off a cross of a defender. The Generals on another clear attempt, and they're able to get across the half mark. 15 screaming down, looking to pass over to a midfielder. That midfielder dishes that ball out quickly. They're met by a plethora of St. Mary's crosses. St. Mary's able to come away with the ground ball, and they're advancing. They're working to get past the 50, and they do. St. Mary's defender looking to get that ball away. Passes over to an attackman. Not a lot of opportunity for them to get inside the net. Number 5 for the Generals doing a good job on defense, meeting him aggressively. Nick Knapp with a pretty good catch there on a bad pass, able to keep the play alive for St. Mary's. Knapp's going to work his defender down to the X position and test his boundary down there. Maybe he'll find a pick. Roll dodges back to his left-hand side, finds himself back down into the X, passes over to Laundrie. Laundrie looking up top to a midfielder. Passes down low to an attackman. A wild shot over the head from number 23. That's Jaden Moriello. Good theory before it all had gone down. I think Coach Field will have something to say to him about that. Next time if it goes in, though, I'll have to eat crow. Back to the top of the box, the St. Mary's midfield. St. Mary's needs to do a little bit better job at trying to cut from the backside. Wow, what a check. Leaves him with the yard sail. That ball's on the ground. Hamilton working to get that ball into their cross, and they're advancing now on the clear. The defender needs to get it over, and he does to a midfielder at number 15. Hamilton Wenham screaming into the box, looking for help on the far side. Pounces off of the helmet of a St. Mary's defender. That ball is out of bounds. Looks like St. Mary's was there first. It doesn't matter because it was a pass, so any passes that roll out of bounds, it's a transition for the team on the defending end. They still do have to clear. And with the substitution coming off, St. Mary's should have a midfielder coming on. That midfielder there wearing number 7 wasn't able to field that ball cleanly. That's Zach Barden. It results in a transition for the Generals, and they're going to try to slow things down and get an opportunity set up to score here. But I'm pretty sure the Spartans' defense is going to have something to say about that. This man defense has tightened up since the last time we've seen it. The St. Mary's Spartans playing a little bit more aggressively. That ball's down on the ground. It's going to roll out of bounds. That's the St. Mary's ball. That'll be inbounded by St. Mary's player wearing number 1, Owen McGuire, able to get that ball over to Quirk. Quirk finding another long pull, back over to McGuire. McGuire can't field that ball cleanly, hits the panic button, gets it back over to Quirk. Quirk's going to need to get that ball across the line. He gets it over to a midfielder, and luckily he's able to get on his horse and use his feet. Gets his touch inside the box. St. Mary's with their substitution. Coach Field has all the guys on the field that he wants. Laundrie working with a roll dodge back to his right-hand side. Finds Nick Knapp inside the crease. Crease has to pull. Knapp has to pull back out. Quick underhand shot. Bounces off of the goalkeeper. It's about the 4th save today from the Generals goalkeeper. He's been solid. Botch pass runs into a ground ball situation. 25 passes over to Brendan Laundrie. Laundrie with his first goal in the season. Nice heads-up play by the St. Mary's attack to stay there inside the crease in case that ball popped out in a favorable position for them, which it did. Laundrie able to receive the pass and dish the ball past the goalkeeper for the St. Mary's second goal of the quarter here. So, halfway between our first quarter, St. Mary's leads Hamilton Wenham 2-0. Hamilton Wenham able to influence the ball off of the face-off, met with a little bit of opposition, and they were able to screen past the midfielder, Christian Lebert. Number 10 passes down to an attackman here for Hamilton Wenham. He passes back to 10, up at the top of the box. Hamilton Wenham with the substitution, and St. Mary's will follow as we get some fresher legs onto the field. Let's see what the Hamilton Wenham offense can put together. St. Mary's doing a good job at pressing these offensive players to keep them as close to the boundary of the box as possible. Good little lift there results in a bad pass attempts. Hamilton Wenham's able to come away with the ground ball. 15, the midfielder out of Hamilton Wenham, working to dodge to the right-hand side, opens things up for the X-player. X-player passes up top to 14, who sits about 2 yards outside the crease, finds the hip of Caden Quirk. Quirk's able to clean that ball up, and now St. Mary's is on the clear attempt here. Nobody's going to cover Quirk, so he's going to try to drag some defenders off of open players. He'll dish that ball downfield in hopes to find an attackman for St. Mary's. They're going to be met with some defense, and that ball's still rolling around. It's really nobody's possession yet. Still in bounds here. Hamilton Wenham able to scoop things up. They're met with 3 defenders. They're able to get past all 3. Can he get past that half mark? He's going to pass it over to number 14, the midfielder, across the field up top with a bad pass. That ball's going to roll out of bounds. St. Mary's is there for the clear. We'll go to Ben Kirby for the clear on the bench sideline here. Kirby, and I believe this is his sophomore year with St. Mary's. He's able to dish over to a midfielder, and he's going to use his legs to get across the half mark. He dodges into the left-hand side. He's met with 3 defenders. His stick is checked. Still has the ball. Working to find a substituting midfielder on. He's able to get that ball. Screams across to Nick Knapp. Knapp not able to field that ball cleanly. That pass rolls out of bounds. It's going to transition in the benefit, in the favor of Hamilton Wenham. Hamilton Wenham's defense player wearing number 16 will be the inbounding player as he steps into the alley. He'll pass over the head of the attackman of St. Mary's over to 44, another long stick. 44 finds 34. He's going to be able to dodge inside 2, takes a shot high to the left. Quirk is there for the chase, and he's going to find himself on a clearing opportunity. Dishes that ball up top to Matt Conley. St. Mary's in a favorable position now to find themselves in a fast clear attempt. We have a stoppage in the game. Looks to be a penalty on St. Mary's. I didn't see the call. It's coming back. I think Quirk started a little bit too early on the clear. Referee saw that. Another dead stoppage in the game. And we'll go to the referee for the call. And during the confusion, coach is going to take the time to get some substitutions in and find some fresher legs onto the field. They're asking to bring the ball back into the St. Mary's territory. Quirk in his sophomore year, here's the goalkeeper for the St. Mary's Spartans, coming off of a terrific season in his debut year. Quirk really assumed the role of a leader and has done a great job, and I'm assuming he'll continue to do a great job this year. St. Mary's able to clean that ball, get that ball clean across the half mark. Laundry working in beat 2. He's met with stick checks from the left, right, and the side. That ball's going to fall to the ground, and I think that will be it for the quarter. At the end of 1, St. Mary's is leading Hamilton Wenham 2-3. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back. Here at the start of the second quarter, St. Mary's is leading Hamilton Wenham 2-0. The goal scorers for St. Mary's, number 35, Brandon Laundry, and Zach Barden. St. Mary's defense doing a great job to shut out the Generals here in the first quarter. We'll go to the half mark for the face as Christian Lebert takes it for St. Mary's. On the far side of the field, wearing number 17, Damon Marabito. And on the lower end of your screen, wearing number 23, is Jaden Moriello. And we'll go to the half to see the face from Lebert. Lebert able to end up with this cross underneath the head of Hamilton Wenham. Hamilton Wenham's able to influence that ball. We'll have a play on here. Possession call. St. Mary's with a quick little dish over from 25. Bounces off of the hip of a defender from Hamilton Wenham. He delivers a vicious hit. That ball's going to be a penalty. St. Mary's did have the opportunity to play the ball out. A stoppage in the game. Check on the safety of a St. Mary's player. Number 5 for Hamilton Wenham screams across the field, laying into a player trying to get a ground ball. Today, something that they don't really want high school players doing in the game. They have to be working towards that ball on the ground, not towards the hit on the highlight reel. So we'll go to St. Mary's, who now sits on the right side of the field. Really not great with my directions, but we'll go to St. Mary's attack for another goal scoring opportunity here. All right. A little bit of movement from the attack up top. St. Mary's working to find a gap here as they drag one out. 7 over to number 25, bounces off of the cross. Joe O'Keefe not there for the pass. If he did field it cleanly, he would have had a nice shot attempt and possibly the third goal of the game. The Generals now on a clear attempt from their own territory. The goalkeeper passes over to the long stick. He's not able to field that ball cleanly. Panic button has been hit. The goalkeeper gets the ball back, passes up top to number 20, who's another long stick fielder. Not a lot of help from the midfield there on the clear attempt for the Hamilton Wenham Generals. I'm sure the defense is wishing those guys stuck around for some extra passes. St. Mary's looking to get to work quickly. Laundry on a quick bounce shot, bounces clean over the goal. St. Mary's is there for the chase, and they don't end up with it. Goalkeeper from Hamilton Wenham is there first, and the Generals are going to have an attempt here to clear, and they're able to get upfield from one long stick to another. He's able to cross that 50-yard line. No sign of the midfielders yet. 44 down to an attackman. Over to 17 at the X position. Not able to field that ball cleanly. Looks like O'Keefe's there to meet him on defense. Good poke check from the long pole wearing number 1 here for St. Mary's. He's able to keep that attackman at his own boundary. St. Mary's still pressing on a man defense here. As you can see, they're doing a great job at keeping the Generals outside and near the perimeter of the box. A dodge attempt there results in a bad pass. St. Mary's is working to get the ball off the ground, and they do. Midfielder wearing number 7, Zach Barden's there. He's already got a goal. He beats one. He gets inside the box. He's looking for a little bit of help up top. Barden catches his wind. He's able to beat one to the left. He's still got him another defender in his face. He's getting checked left and right. That ball's down on the ground. It's able to get scooped up by a midfielder. 2 in the crease. 2 players in the crease, 1 with the ball. That's going to result in an automatic transition turnover for the offense every time. St. Mary's working to get that ball down at the X position, trying to find a boundary back here. Knapp met with some pretty solid defense on the far side of the field. Is he able to get back into his left? He wants to go right. He's looking up top for a little bit of help. St. Mary's over to 7-7 with a wild shot. Bounces off of the chest protector of the Hamilton Wenham Generals midfielder. Tough kid wearing 22 there out of Hamilton Wenham. St. Mary's is going to maintain possession here in the Generals' territory. Zach Barden to be the inbounding midfielder for the Spartans. Barden barking out some calls, getting his midfield and attack in a position for either a dodge or a reception for a pass. He's met with some pretty good solid stick checks. He's able to get him past, finds another player. Number 23 for the St. Mary's Spartans comes away with a goal there. That's Jaden Moriello. That's his first of the season. St. Mary's leading Hamilton Wenham 3-0 here in the second quarter from Manning Field. I'm Sean Donahue. We're reporting from beautiful Manning Field here on this April afternoon for the St. Mary's Spartans home opener. I'd like to say thanks to the crew from Classical for coming out and filming. We'll go to the half mark to see Lebert take the face for the Spartans. Both teams doing a fairly good job at staying out of the penalty box today, with the exception of a few wild hits. Referees doing a good job at controlling this game. Hamilton Wenham doing a great job on the face-offs. 23 working under the cross of Kristen Lebert, and he's able to influence a majority of these face-off balls. That ball falls onto the ground. O'Keefe is there. He's making things difficult, tries to find it back into the crease for Quirk, and Quirk comes away with an easy scoop. Finds O'Keefe up top. O'Keefe back to Quirk. Sorry, I keep calling Jack McGuire O'Keefe. It's Jack McGuire. Quirk over to 10. That ball's going to bounce out of play. Connor Butt not there for it. Looks like it might have bounced off of a Generals player, so St. Mary's is going to be able to maintain possession. St. Mary's defense doing a good job at keeping that donut on the board for Hamilton Wenham, playing aggressive man defense. Can't play defense without your midfield, though. Great job by Coach Field and Coach Finley and the substitutions, making sure that they've got fresh legs. Defensive midfielders on the field to play defense, and offensive midfielders on the field to play offense. St. Mary's working to get the ball inside that box. Coach Field barking out calls from the sideline. A hard move to the right-hand side, looking to come back to his left. Doesn't have anything there. He's looking for some options. Doesn't want to pass across the field. He's going to have to do a little bit of work or find a cutter. 12 back to the ex-player. Laundry works hard on the right-hand side. Gets up top to number 20 for the St. Mary's Spartans. He takes a wild shot from the top of the box. I'm sorry, that's number 10. It's gobbled up quickly by the goalkeeper out of Hamilton Wenham. Last shot coming off of the cross of Connor Butt. Connor Butt taking a shot from the 29-yard line, about a yard inside the box. Do a little bit more work, find himself a few more steps, and those shots become a lot more likely to become goals. Hamilton Wenham on the clear, a long stick midfielder coming across the midline for the quick clear. He's going to try to find an attackman, and does. He'll gallop back to his own territory. Hamilton Wenham really trying to get this ball to the X position, and the St. Mary's defense is doing a great job at knocking these down. Owen McGuire, we've got Jack McGuire as well, playing some heavy man on defense here, utilizing Quirk on the clears, not shy to take their time. These St. Mary's Spartans are doing a great job in their first home opener. I'm sure Coach Field's got a lot of good things to say, a lot of good things that these guys need to work on as well. St. Mary's on the beat there. We're going to have a push from behind on 15. Jaden Moriello comes off the sideline hot. He'll go to the bench to cool down. So after the penalty, looks like the Generals are going to have to play in a man-down situation. They'll play 5 against the St. Mary's 6. A little confusing, as on the far side of the field, I've got 4 St. Mary's players in the box here. Oh, I'm really not sure who's serving a penalty or not. 34 doing a good job of getting past the attack for St. Mary's. He can't get past the midfield. He's met with an array of sticks, and Conley's able to scoop that ball up cleanly. And we got a timeout for St. Mary's Spartans. So far in the game, our goal scorers, Jaden Moriello, Brendan Laundrie, and Zach Barden, all doing a really good job at finding their seams, waiting for gaps, receiving fast passes from their attack and midfield. So a lot of good heads-up plays here by the St. Mary's offense. So far, St. Mary's leading Hamilton Wenham 3-0. St. Mary's coming off of an 11-9 season, beating Fenwick in the first round of the playoffs and losing in the second round of the playoffs to Ipswich. Coach Field in his 4th year here with the St. Mary's Spartans as a head coach, and Coach Finley in his 3rd year here with the St. Mary's Spartans. The Spartans head to Matt Young this Friday, April 5th, to play in their second matchup of the season. I'd like to say thanks to my crew for Classical for coming out and filming this lacrosse game here on a crisp spring afternoon here in Lynn, Massachusetts. All right, we're going to be on the right side of the field here. St. Mary's coming in with the ball. They're up at about the top of the 30-yard marker, and now we're cooking. Spartans attack, working to find an outlet. They go to Nick Knapp with a low shot. That ball will sail far wide of the net. St. Mary's is there for the chase, so they'll maintain possession here. Seven's just going to come in. He finds himself a seam, and he takes advantage of that shot there. Zach Barden gets a second goal of the game. Doing a good job at staying patient. He inbounded the ball. Sorry, had a lot of space on his left-hand side. He came through. Didn't see any defenders establishing a boundary, so took an attempt at a shot, and it paid off. Spartans now leading 4-0. We'll go to the half mark for the face from Christian Lebert. Here at the bottom of your screen, wearing 10, Connor Butt. Up at the top of your screen, wearing number 17, Damon Marabito. Lebert able to win this one. Can he get it off of the ground? Marabito able to get in. Can he get it past the 50? He does, but not cleanly. Lebert not able to field that ball. It's going to end up in the cross of number 15 for the Generals. He passes up top to the midfielder, long stick midfielder wearing 16. He able to get past one, puts the player on the back of his uniform there. Lebert comes in to clean things up. Hamilton Wenham taking some time. That ball's still on the ground. They're able to scoop things up, and they're going to try to see what type of boundaries that the St. Mary's Spartans are working to establish. 15, the midfielder up at the top of the box. Hamilton Wenham with 4 on the field. They have their 5th, waiting for the man to come on after the penalty. 15 down to the attack, tries to find a seam to his right-hand side. Instead dishes out to the X-player. X-player back up to number 8, who's at the bottom side of your screen, over to the midfielder wearing 34. 34 up to 10. 10's going to pull things out, try to find himself in an ISO situation. Hamilton Wenham working the perimeter of this box back up to the midfielder. The midfielder defended by Christian LeBert out of St. Mary's. He's going to work to beat him to the left-hand side. Willie dodge back to the right. There it is. Takes a shot. No, actually a pass over to 27. 27 sitting about 2 yards inside the crease. Does a good job at staying patient. Finds that ball in his cross, turns around, and shoots on Quirk before he even notices what's going on. The St. Mary's defense has to do a little bit better job at protecting the inside of that crease. Anytime there's a player sitting there, red flags should be going up, and defenders' crosses should be playing on the attack or midfielder crosses hanging inside of that goal there. So Hamilton Wenham walks away with their first goal of the season and the year here in the second quarter against the St. Mary's Spartans. St. Mary's leading Hamilton Wenham 4-1. We'll go to the half mark for the face-off. Ball's on the ground, and we're able to scoop it up, but are not able to field it cleanly. No possession call yet until now. That ball's down on the ground. A little aggressive defense coming off of the cross of number 12 for St. Mary's. That's going to result in a penalty and a man-down situation for the Spartans. Davis Kinney there, the midfielder on the big hit. Doesn't pay off for the Spartans as they find themselves in a situation where now they're playing man down in their own territory. The St. Mary's playing in a man defense throughout the game, now being forced to play in a tight zone. Let's see how they adjust. 15 down to the attackman. He's going to test the boundaries. Doesn't see much there. Back up to the midfielder at 15. 15 over in the middle of the field at the top of the box. Passes down to an attackman. Over to the X player. Player over at the X tries to pass across the crease. Quirk, too savvy for that one. He's able to just scoop that ball up as if it was a pass to him. Now he's tasked with the attempt to clear. He's able to get it across the half mark. St. Mary's, Brendan Laundrie's trying to get in there. He's hit from behind. There's the whistle call. White ball. That ball's going to stay in the territory of the Generals. St. Mary's is going to put it to work right now. Laundrie not able to get that pass from the ex-player for St. Mary's. It results in a ground ball scoop for Hamilton Wenham. Now they're on the clear attempt. 5 draws a penalty with the helmet. St. Mary's now going to be playing this penalty out until Hamilton Wenham drops the ball. Goalkeeper working to still get that ball up across the half mark. There is still a clearing time that Hamilton Wenham needs to hit. St. Mary's doing everything that they can to find that ball on the ground. Ball's on the ground, whistle's blown. We'll have the penalty call here. Slash. It looks like it's going to result in a 3-minute penalty here. I don't think it's going to be locked in. It didn't seem as though it was intentional. Hamilton Wenham with the rock in the St. Mary's territory here. One midfielder over to an attackman right back. A little bit of back and forth from the midfield to the attack for the Hamilton Wenham Generals. 10 working to find a boundary. Dishes over to 15, 15 to 8. 8's not able to field that ball cleanly to an attackman. That ball falls on the ground. Now Hamilton Wenham struggling. Great defense on the part of Ben Kirby there to get that ball onto the ground. St. Mary's doing a good job at adjusting to the zone. Matt Conley coming far outside of the crease, sending a message to the midfielder. St. Mary's defense now working to clear. He'll be met by another defender. Gets it over to Conley. Conley trying to get across the half mark, and he does. He has a lot of space. There's a flag down. Conley drops that ball. We should have a whistle now, but we don't. There it is. Ball's going blue. Looks like we had a loose ball push call from the referee down by the goalkeeper. Another penalty here by the referee closer to the half mark. Cross check. Cross-check on Hamilton Wenham. They'll have a player serving a penalty. They'll be faced with a man-down situation. Let's see what the St. Mary's Spartans offense can do about putting something together here on a man-up situation. It's a good test of how this team will score a lot of goals here. So a little bit of back and forth catch just to try to test the boundary, see what these guys are giving us, making this defense move around. A hard bounce shot bounces off of the cross of the goalkeeper. Laundry there on the shot attempt. Loose ball push call. Looks like it's going to be on blue. It's going to stay St. Mary's ball here in the Generals' territory. St. Mary's inbounds the ball, passes over to Laundry. Laundry trying to find a seam there. Passes over to Knapp. Knapp with the shot. Looked like a hit outside of the net, but he's able to clean that one up. Nice job off of the attackman wearing number 99. I believe that's him. Yep, that's him. He loves Taselli. He'll tell you about it all the time. Great job by Knapp there, scoring his first goal of the year. St. Mary's now leading Hamilton Wenham 5-1. Scoring on the man-up situation is exactly what Coach Field wants to see in this debut game. When you get a situation where the other team has a penalty, you want to score. If you miss those opportunities to score, that could be the difference between a tie or a loss or even a win. We'll go to the half mark to see Lebert take the face-off for St. Mary's. Referee blows the whistle. Hamilton Wenham's able to influence that ball, but St. Mary's able to come away with the scoop. After a quick dodge, he finds himself on the ground. They're met with an array of crosses by Hamilton Wenham as they trip over each other. Loose ball push call results in a possession call for St. Mary's. St. Mary's still tasked to clear across the 50-yard line. Lebert to be the midfielder. He's met by two defenders. Can he use his feet? He's met by three now. He's still got his cross ready to go. He's looking for a little bit of help. St. Mary's able to scoop that ball up. The defender able to get over to the 50, not cleanly. That ball's still on the ground. St. Mary's going to get called for an offsides here. Ten with the ball for the Generals. Get a timeout call from the Generals bench. We'll take a little bit of time to review what's been going on in this game. So far, Zach Barden leads the Spartans with 2 goals. Brendan Laundry with his first goal of the season. Jaden Moriello and Nicholas Napolitano with his first goal of the season. Last goal scorer on our roster right now. That was Nick Knapp with the last goal. Nice little dish from the far side of the net. Able to sneak it past a gap of a goalkeeper, and St. Mary's ends up pulling ahead. They're winning 5-4 right now here in this beautiful April afternoon in Lynn, Massachusetts at our very own Manning Field. The St. Mary's Spartans hosting the Hamilton Wenham Generals, coming off of a season of 11 wins and 9 losses, advancing to the second round of the playoffs, beating Fenwick in the first round, and eventually losing to Ipswich. Coach Field in his 4th year here with the Spartans, and Coach Finley in his 3rd year here with the Spartans, doing a great job with the defense. St. Mary's had a shutout, not anymore. I'm sure that's the goal that these guys have every single game. Can't be perfect all the time, but something to work towards. For a debut game, we're seeing a lot out of the St. Mary's Spartans. We've seen a lot for them on the attack game, the transition game, from the substitutions to ground balls. This team looks like they're ready to come out and compete in the playoffs this year. So going to be very exciting covering these guys this year here at Manning Field for all of their home games. Brought to you by LETV. 34 bringing the ball in for the for the Hamilton Wenham Generals. Passes across the field to the attackman wearing 8. 8 working to find a seam. That ball's knocked down by number 22 for the St. Mary's Spartans. He's played wonderful defense today. That's Ben Kirby. I think he's in his sophomore year. Ben Kirby's done a lot of growing from the 2018 to the 2019 season. He's playing as a leader out there, and he's doing a lot of damage to the attackman's ego while he's knocking down balls and throwing good solid checks, not allowing any easy transitions or opportunities to find seams for these attackmen and midfielders. So St. Mary's able to get past two, shot on the ground, falls short of the goal line there as the goalkeeper from Hamilton Wenham is able to get it. Knapp back there doing a little bit of work. He's going to try to meet this long stick midfielder with some defense. He'll stay on him while they pass over to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper with a Gilman, as we call him, across that 50-yard line mark. Number 14 working to get the ball over. That ball falls dead as the quarter ends here. So at the end of two, St. Mary's is leading Hamilton Wenham 5-1. We'll be back right after this break. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back for the second half of the St. Mary's debut lacrosse game here for the 2019 season as Christian Lebert works for that face-off here at the half mark. He's able to influence that ball. St. Mary's able to come away with the scoop. Nicely done. St. Mary's able to clean that ball up. Damon Marabito there to receive the ball. He's going to work to get inside of the box. Marabito going to pass over to Nick Knapp at the X position and gallop on back to his territory. Knapp working to come around the crease. Finds himself in a situation where he needs to dish it out. Laundry with a shot attempt out far. Ends up being gobbled up by the Hamilton Wenham goalkeeper. St. Mary's working to get this ball in the transition. Hamilton Wenham able to come away with that ball there as the defender cruises across the 50-yard line, finding himself on a quick scoop after a shot attempt. Quirk able to save that ball, gets it over to Laundry. Laundry now working to the right-hand side, dodges back to his left, finds himself in the alley. He's met with a cross. Ends up going over the top of the head, finds Knapp down inside the crease. Knapp not able to come away with that ball. Ends up fighting for it. Anyway, that flag sails over for the benefit of Hamilton Wenham. After the ball hits the ground, we'll have a dead ball. Knapp's going to end up going to the bench, serving a penalty. Saw his opportunity to score down there in the crease. He's met with a cross by a defender out of Hamilton Wenham and became frustrated. Starts working on his hit game as opposed to his ground ball game. That results in a man down situation for the St. Mary's Spartans. They did a pretty good job transitioning into a zone against from their last man down situation. But usually when we have penalties, the team that's up is in a must-score mentality. So we'll see what the Spartans can do here to keep these guys on their heels. 15 down to number 14, the midfielder for Hamilton Wenham, back over to the ex-player for Hamilton Wenham. The Generals working to find a seam up top. He gets over a pass. He has to beat two. He does not. Ball falls to the ground. The Hamilton Wenham midfielders there on the scoop. We have a loose ball push on white. It's going to stay blue ball here in the St. Mary's Spartans territory. 14 is going to field the ball in. He's going to try to find himself a seam. He's met with two defenders. Dishes up to the midfielder, number 15. 14 has the ball now, looking to the ex-player for Hamilton Wenham. He'll find him there. He's going to try to find a pass. Goes over to the attackman. Comes out wide, 34 on the cut. Not able to find himself in a position to score. Dishes over back to the attackman wearing 14. 14 to 15 on a shot attempt. Bounces off of the ground into Quirk's stick. Quirk tries to find a midfielder who was open. Number 4 not ready for the ball there. Luckily, Marabito's there for the scoop. Can he get it across the half mark? And he does. Marabito now shooting down, trying to get it into the cross of a St. Mary's attack player. 19 for St. Mary's, not able to field that ball cleanly. As the season progresses, we'll get a little bit more familiar with who's who and what numbers they're wearing. We'll be able to get these guys' names out to you. St. Mary's doing a pretty good job there on the fast break, but not able to get it in the cross of an attackman. That's going to cost them there. We got a check, push from behind. It's going to result in a Generals ball. Oh, it's going to be a 30-second penalty. St. Mary's in another man-down situation here right after they got out of the last man-down situation. Hamilton Wenham working the perimeter of the ball. Needs to be a little bit quicker to catch St. Mary's out of position. 10 with a quick pass over to 15. 15 not able to field it cleanly. Hamilton Wenham's able to come away with that ball, but not before they're met with a plethora of checks from the St. Mary's Spartans. 15 down, over to the attack player. Attack player trying to find 17 at the X position, cruising around the crease. He's met with a cross from number 1 out of St. Mary's. That ball falls down to the ground. Owen McGuire, nice job on the stick check there. It's going to result in an out-of-bounds pass. That's a St. Mary's ball. They're going to need to clear now. McGuire now with the ball. Joe O'Keefe with the clear. He's got his cross in towards the field, slips over the turf monster. He's not able to get that ball cleanly. Shoots it through the legs of the other player. It's able to get scooped up cleanly by number 10. Hamilton Wenham trying to find a seam. They're met with the defensive number 7 out of the Spartans. Puts himself out of position. 17 now. Working to find a seam. He's not able to get it. He'll pull that ball outside of the box and slow things down for the Generals. 12 will come off for the Generals and find a substituting midfielder. St. Mary's back to an even set here. Hamilton Wenham playing even further outside the box. St. Mary's doing a great job on the defensive end of things. Great defense there by, I think it's McGuire. Penalties down. That ball bounces outside of the net. 1 minute penalty. Looks like it's going to be on St. Mary's. Ball up at the top of your screen. 15 with the ball for the midfield out of Hamilton Wenham. Passes down to 14. Generals making it fairly easy on the Spartans to be able to guess where they'll take their shots from. You see Quirk there taunting, not really taunting, but coming out of the crease to try to force number 14 to shoot. 2 or 3 defenders between them and the crease, so I'm sure Quirk would take that shot all day. 14 trying to find a seam. Gets it over to the X position. St. Mary's with the ground ball attempt. The D-pull's not able to come away with that one. Owen McGuire there on the clear attempt. Tries to get over to Quirk. 14, the attackman out of Hamilton Wenham's able to scoop that ball up cleanly. Can't field it over to an attackman. St. Mary's now on the clear opportunity. We're going to have a loose ball push call here. A little bit of extra there from the cross of number 22. St. Mary's needs to do a better job of keeping their cool. They should be able to benefit from a turnover call here, but they'll be forced with the clearing opportunity. Number 22 for the Spartans will attempt to inbound the ball. He's met with a check right off the bat. Passes over to a midfielder. He'll be able to get that ball across the 50-yard line. Dodges back to his right-hand side. Can't find any seams, so he passes it down to Brendan Laundrie, wearing 35 for the St. Mary's Spartans. Laundrie, a pivotal player for this team. He does a lot of good work at running, beating players with his feet. As you see there, he dodges back to the right-hand side, finds himself dancing around the crease with a nice low shot, scores another goal for the St. Mary's Spartans. That's Brendan Laundrie's second goal of the season and the game, as the St. Mary's Spartans face off in their debut 2019 season. St. Mary's Spartans are hosting Hamilton Wenham and just increased their score to 6-1. Spartans finishing off an 11-9 season last year, beating Fenwick in the first round of the playoffs, losing in the second round to Ipswich. Coach Field in his fourth year here with the Spartans, and Finley in his third year. St. Mary's coming off of back-to-back playoff berth seasons, looking to get back there again this third year. Christian Labert on the face-off, he's able to influence it, doesn't come away with it. Luckily, Damon Marabito's there to scoop things up. He'll find himself dishing that ball over to an attackman, 25, trying to find a seam. Marabito, maybe a quick little pick, finds himself coming off of the field for a substitute. A lot of good players on the midfield for the Hamilton Wenham Generals. They do a good job at playing defense. There's three of them who are very, very good. They've done a great job at holding the Spartans off, especially on quick transitions. "16 Blue will serve the penalty for the Generals. Slashing 1 minute call. St. Mary's will find themselves in another man-up situation. They were able to score 1 out of 2 of their man-up situations. Let's see if they can score 2 out of 3 here on this attempt. Zach Barden to inbound the ball from the St. Mary's bench area. Laundrie looking for it up top as he's wide open. Over to Laundrie. Laundrie looking for a seam. He'll draw in a defender. He passes it back over to Barden. Barden with the behind-the-back pass over to number 25 for the St. Mary's Spartans. Can't field that ball cleanly, but he's able to get the ground ball back. Passes over to Nick Knapp at the X position. Knapp trying to find a seam. Dishes over to number 19 for the Spartans. 19 back to Knapp. Knapp over to 19, working on the left-hand side of the crease. Knapp tries to get inside. He tries to dish that ball past the goalkeeper. He's met with 2 crosses from the long sticks there. That ball rolls out of bounds. St. Mary's is there on the chase, and they'll come away with possession here. Barden to inbound the ball for the St. Mary's Spartans up at the top of your screen here. Barden got a lot of space. He's going to try to draw in a defender, and he does. Passes over to Laundrie. Laundrie with a quick pass over to 12 for St. Mary's. That ball falls to the ground, not able to field it cleanly. 19's there for the scoop. St. Mary's is going to try to work to slow things down and get back into a seam. 12 with a quick shot. Bounces off of the chest of the Hamilton Wenham defense. That ball flies out of bounds. Luckily, we have Barden there to chase it. That shot coming off the cross of Davis Kinney. Barden over to Laundrie. Laundrie now with the seam. He's going to try to take a left-handed shot. Bounces over the goalkeeper. St. Mary's is there for the chase. Joe O'Keefe to inbound the ball from the X position for St. Mary's. Joe O'Keefe passes over to Nick Knapp. Knapp trying to find an attackman. Bounce pass over to 19. That ball's not able to get there clean enough. St. Mary's now fighting for a ground ball. Laundrie able to get past 2. He tries for a low shot. Bounces off the shin of a defensive player from the Generals. The Generals now in a situation where they've cleared the ball over to the half mark. 14 beats 2 defenders. Is he able to get past the 3rd? He'll dish over. Low shot. Quirk able to get his cross on the ball, but it takes a dangerous bounce. Bounces off a pipe. Another bounce shot. Quirk there with the gobble up. We have a flag on the Flag on the play, and I'm tripping over my tongue. Let's go to the referee for the call. Looks like St. Mary's is going to be serving this penalty. Usually when the referee's walking over with your teammate, that's not good. A little bit of extra. We find some more laundry on the field. Not sure what it's for. Might be because there was a little bit of chitter-chatter coming from the bench of Hamilton Wenham. We'll go to the referee for the call. A little bit of drama here happening at Manning Field on the debut game for the St. Mary's Spartans as they host the Hamilton Wenham Generals. And that's exactly what happened. Hamilton's going to need to... Well, it must be an extra penalty on St. Mary's. Maybe they said something they shouldn't have. We'll go to the St. Mary's territory for the Hamilton Wenham's attempt to score here. St. Mary's now in a man-down situation again. Quick shot comes from the top of the box. Quirk's able to get to the chase, but does he get there first? No. That ball's going to stay Hamilton Wenham ball. Hamilton Wenham working up to 15. 15 doing a great job on both sides of the ball. Passes over to 10. 10 back down to 34. 34 over to the attackman. He's met with a hard stick check from the St. Mary's defense. St. Mary's doing a good job of keeping the Generals on their heels, at least to the perimeter or even further beyond the perimeter of the box. Trying to find a seam here. Back up to 10. 10 not seeing a lot of gaps, so he passes over. That ball's not able to be fielded cleanly. Now they're fighting for a ground ball attempt. St. Mary's able to come away with it. They cross the half mark. He's able to get past one. 16 doing a good job at fighting back for position, and he does. St. Mary's going to slow things down, try to find themselves in a situation where either they're going to be killing this penalty or drawing defenders off and dishing them open to open players. He gets past one, not able to get past the second or the third. That ground ball's gobbled up by the Generals. The Generals able to transition over to the 50-yard line. St. Mary's on the interception. Dead ball call. Looks like a timeout called, or possibly loose ball push. Generals ball. It'll be inbounded from 10 at the half mark here. Ten with the ball, passes over to 15, 15 down to the attackman. Hamilton Wenham now playing on the farther side of the field. 34 working down low to the ex-player, passes up to 10. 10 working on a cutter from the top of the box. 15, and these guys are working on a wheel. Caden Quirk's been in a situation like this. He knows where the shot's coming from, puts himself in a great position to deflect that ball off his cross and out of bounds, forcing the attackman from Hamilton Wenham to chase and inbound. This attackman will kind of cruise upside on the alley, pass it over to a midfielder from the top. That shot coming about 5 yards inside of the box. Caden Quirk loves those, gives him a lot of opportunity to react and put a cross on that ball. Bad clear attempt falls in to an interception from number 15 out of Hamilton Wenham. Hamilton Wenham able to just cruise past all of these defenders, finding themselves out of position. 15 scoring a goal here in the third quarter to bring Hamilton Wenham within 4 of St. Mary's. The St. Mary's Spartans still leading Hamilton Wenham 6-2 here in the third quarter. I'm Sean Donahue from LETV, and I would like to say thank you to tuning in. Thank you to our crew from Classical for coming out to film today. If it's your first time tuning into a lacrosse game here at LETV, enjoy. The St. Mary's Spartans are coming off of their second playoff berth. Last year, their first year they went to the playoffs was back in the 2017 season. That was in Coach Field's second year as the head coach here. Coach Finley's first year as the defensive coordinator. St. Mary's advancing to the playoffs last year, getting past the first round, beating Fenwick, and eventually losing to Ipswich in the second round. This team looks ready, willing, and able to compete in the playoffs this year. Let's see if these guys can finish up this game strong. Could be an indicator of how they finish up games. We're finding ourselves towards the end of this third quarter here, rolling into the fourth. Can St. Mary's finish strong and run away with this game, or will they allow the Generals to hang in? St. Mary's with the ball here up at the top of the box in the Generals' territory. He's met with some good defense there. He'll have to find himself cruising over to the right-hand side. Finds Christian Lebert up top. Lebert with the quick stick over to 7. Lebert calling for a cutter down low so he can find a space. Nice shot from, sorry, not Lebert. Nice shot from that midfielder there. Calls for a player up top, draws the defender up, and has a nice little seam to try to take a shot. Great educated play. 12 with a low shot for St. Mary as it sails past. That shot comes off with the cross of Davis Kinney. Take some time right now to give a shout out to number 7, Zach Barton, who's played really good heads-up lacrosse today, with the exception of that drop pass. St. Mary's now finding themselves in an opportunity where they're going to need to fight on a fast break. Luckily, they get a break and off of a bad pass. Hamilton Wenham's going to keep this ball, and they're working a beat on the right-hand side of number 17, Damon Marabito. Marabito forces that pass out. Number 1 for the St. Mary's Spartans loses his cross, gets it back, finds himself in a situation where he can sweep that ball over to Caden Quirk. Quirk gets it over to a midfielder, and he's going to work his legs to get across that half mark, and he does. He gets past 1 defender, gets past 2, finds himself looking for a little bit of space, trying to get outside and find some help. He's got 2 defenders on him. Somebody's going to be open. Works down hard inside the right-hand side. He's met with some good, clean defense. His flag on the ground. That shot comes off of the cross of Nick Knapp. Knapp with the second goal of the game. Outstanding effort there by St. Mary's. Davis Kinney working to draw a couple defenders off, dodges down hard inside the right-hand side, and finds Nick Knapp open for a second goal of the game. Knapp always doing a good job at finding themselves in some situations to score here. A little bit of aggravation on the field for both teams. St. Mary's leading 7-2 here at Manning Field on this beautiful April afternoon. Welcome back here at the start of the fourth quarter. Sorry, nope. This is still the third quarter. Yep, we're still in the third. Oh, no. Yep, still in the third. No transition from the goalkeepers. A little longer of a break there. All right. Referees took a little bit of time to take control back from this game. Wise decision on their end. Hamilton Wenham able to get inside the box. 15 finds a player open there down in the crease, but he's met with a plethora of crosses from the St. Mary's Spartans. We'll have a dead ball penalty here. Looks like it's going to be called on White. St. Mary is going to serve a penalty here. Coming off of the field for the Spartans, wearing number 4, Bryce Bedard. He'll serve his penalty, forcing St. Mary's into a man-down situation. "15 working down hard in the alley, bounces back to his left-hand side. And that'll be the quarter. We'll be back after this break. Thank you for tuning in. At the end of 3, St. Mary's leads the Generals 7-2. Welcome back to the 4th and final quarter of the St. Mary's debut season opener here at Manning Field for the 2019 season. St. Mary's hosting Hamilton Wenham in their first game, leading right now 7-2. Hamilton Wenham with the ball in the St. Mary's territory, and they've maintained possession throughout most of the second half here. Drawing a lot of defenders out to the perimeter of the box. St. Mary's defense not falling for it, staying in tight on their territory for help. 10 up top, passes over to midfielder, and then across bound to another attackman. Quirk there for the quick scoop. Those are dangerous passes. St. Mary's not able to field that ball cleanly. Ends up in the cross on number 25. He beats 2. Can he get a shot on? He tries to. Knapp there, able to scoop the ball. Nope, still on the ground. Hamilton Wenham goalkeeper comes outside of the crease to find that ball. Gets it over to number 16. 16 not able to scoop the ball up. Flag on St. Mary's. Push call. It's going to result in a transition for Hamilton Wenham. Thirty-second penalty to be served by St. Mary's. Hamilton Wenham in another man-up situation. Not really able to capitalize too much on these up situations here. Hamilton Wenham working the perimeter of the box. 15 finds himself in tighter. Takes a shot from the top of the box. Quirk able to react quickly and scoops that ball up. They're going to leave him alone on the clear. He'll bring it out, showing that he's not too shy. He dishes that ball over. Great pass across the field over to Damon Marabito. Marabito trying to find an outlet pass there. Gets it over to number 25. That ball falls to the ground. Joe O'Keefe able to scoop it back up. O'Keefe gets that ball down to Laundry. Laundry now trying to do a little bit of work on the perimeter of the box. Tire out number 16 playing defense for the Generals. Laundry does a lot of good work on his feet and keeps players guessing on which direction he can go. He's solid right-hand and left-hand player and scoop balls in front, behind, left, and right of him. He's a coach's dream, and it's happy to see him back here for the Spartans. Hopefully this player continues to grow. We're going to have another slash call for St. Mary's. You're going to the box, number 7, says the referee. And Zach Barden will go and serve a penalty for the Spartans after the slash. We got 2 flags on the field, both very far away from each other. And what that means is that there's probably 2 different penalties. Not sure if St. Mary's is going to be in a 2-man down situation. That kind of looks like what's happening here. All right, after a little bit of debauchery, we're back to the game. 10 not able to get across the half mark. He's met with a cross by number 25 out of St. Mary's. St. Mary's scoops that ball up cleanly, now working outside the perimeter of Hamilton Wenham's territory. Knapp with the ball down at the bottom of the X position, passes up to an attackman over. Now St. Mary's at the midfield line, working inside of the box. He gets past one, quick shot, tries to rip one past the goalkeeper. That ball misses the net entirely. Good educated shot by Davis Kenny. He's been a pretty solid player today. He's got a good, strong shot. After he works to control it, he'll be a competitor in the CCL for sure. St. Mary's now with the ball at the X position, able to get past one. Knapp dishes it over to a helping attackman. Not able to get that one past the goalkeeper out of Hamilton Wenham. Hamilton Wenham now in the clear attempt, able to get that ball over to the 50-yard line as they have a defensive midfielder. He's going to try to take a shot. Bounces one up, falls short, rolls behind the X position. 14's there for the scoop. He's going to try his attempt at trying to beat inside. Doesn't find it. Goes up top. Looking for help to trusty number 15 out of the Generals bench. He does a good job for this team working with his feet. He's met with aggressive defense by Matt Conley. Conley, one of the faster players on this team. O'Keefe doing a good job of keeping those players behind the X position. A bad pass results in a ground ball attempt for 8. 8 dishes that ball over to 10. Caden Quirk too quick on the shot attempt, able to gobble up 10 shot quickly and gets it over to Matt Conley, who cruises across the 50-yard line, not before being checked with the cross a few times. Dishes that ball over to an attackman. St. Mary's is now on the attack here in the Generals defense. Nick Knapp working from the X position, dodges back to his right. He's going to dance around the crease, try to find a shot. He's met with some pretty good solid defense. Goalkeeper from Hamilton Wenham able to scoop up that low shot. Now Hamilton Wenham on a clearing attempt. Hamilton Wenham's goalkeeper outside of the crease passes over. St. Mary's is there. Damon Marabito working to get inside, finds an attack player. Nick Knapp turns around for the easy shot as he's uncontested. St. Mary's going up another goal here in the fourth quarter. Nick Knapp scoring his 3rd goal of the game. St. Mary's now leading 8-2 here in this fourth quarter on April 2nd, 2019. Here at Manning Field in Lynn, Massachusetts, I'm Sean Donahue from LETV with my crew from Classical, saying thanks to you for tuning in. We'll go to the half mark for the face after Napolitano's goal. Christian Lebert to take the face off for St. Mary's here. Referee asks the players to readjust themselves so we can get a fair attempt for both players. Lebert doing a good job at staying in there. He's not able to influence that ball much. The Hamilton Wenham face-off crew does a good job at getting there first. St. Mary's with a wild attack. No call from the referee, which is good for the Spartans. That ball is going to stay in blue possession here. Eight to inbound the ball at the bottom of your screen here for Hamilton Wenham. He dishes and deeks to his left-hand side, finds 17. 17 not able to get inside of 24, so he ends up dishing back to the ex-player. Hamilton Wenham midfield working to find some more seams here. That ball's on the ground. The St. Mary's defense working to scoop it up. Nobody has it yet until now. Hamilton Wenham will come away with this one. Dishes over to the midfielder wearing 8. He deeks back to his right-hand side, met with some pretty good solid defense, tries to dodge left, draws a defender, passes over to the attackman. 17 now trying to find a seam. Dodges back to his right-hand side. He's met with good defense by O'Keefe. O'Keefe trying to get him to force a bad pass, and he does over to 8. That ball falls to the ground. Hamilton Wenham working to find the perimeter again. Couple of newer players onto the field from the bench as the game comes to a conclusion. Some younger legs. Good hard checks from the St. Mary's defense, forcing 15 to check his perimeter. That ball's on the ground. St. Mary's now fighting for a ground ball. Can they come away with it? It's still up and it's down. Hamilton Wenham there. A lot of swatting, not a lot of scooping. That ball falls into the cross of Caden Quirk. Quirk passes over down to 22. The long stick fielder is working across that 50-yard line mark, and he gets there. He'll work inside the box. He's still got the ball. He's trying to find somebody to dish the ball out to. Takes a shot. The goalkeeper from Hamilton Wenham's there for the save. Now 22's got to gallop back down to his own territory. Ben Kirby doing a great job here, I believe, in his second year as a St. Mary's Spartans player. Doing a lot of maturing. finding himself in a position like his brother was in last year where he'll have a fast break, no open attackman, so he tries to take the shot, and it ends up a save 9 out of 10 times. So St. Mary's doing a great job coming out on their home opener here, debut game out of the 2019 season. Nick Knapp scoring 3 goals, Jaden Moriello scoring 1, Brendan Landry scoring 2, and Zach Barden scoring 2. So a lot of numbers here for the St. Mary's Spartans. Another thing to note are the penalties that these guys are experiencing as well. I think the St. Mary's Spartans found themselves in a man-down situation close to I'd say maybe 8 penalties today. I saw the Spartans serve and face a man-down situation, if not 8, mostly more. Defense doing a really good job at holding this Hamilton Wenham team to a 2-point game. Despite all of the man-down situations, doing a great job at adjusting from the man defense over to a zone box and one man-down defense. So both sides of the ball are looking really good for the Spartans so far. Coach Field in his 4th year really done a lot with this team and getting these guys on the same page with running plays, being in the right positions, and being able to depend on the guys being in the right positions next to you. So that's a big part of this game as well. Quick shot coming off of the cross of number 7 for the St. Mary's Spartans. That's Zach Barden, who already has 2 goals today. That ball will sail out of bounds, but because it's a shot, St. Mary's has an opportunity to chase. And they're there first of the line, so that they're going to be able to maintain possession here. Laundry with a shot attempt. Takes a weird little fall there. I hope he's okay. About 5 yards inside the box. Looks like he tried to pivot on his ankle and twisted something as the trainer comes onto the field. We'll all speculate as to how healthy he's going to be. We wish him the best. Looks like he's going to be okay as he's walking off the field. Be evaluated by Nicole Gannett, I believe. If I got your name wrong, Nicole, forgive me. Laundry scores his 3rd goal of the game. LeBert will get some more work at the face-off position as he faces a really good face-off player here for the Generals. The Generals doing a great job on the faces, able to influence most of the balls. That being said, most of the ground ball situations have been a fight, but they've done a great job of getting their crosses onto the ground. Now he beats 4, able to get past 2. A little bit of sloppy defense there from the St. Mary's Spartans as they're working to get that cross as opposed to the body. Caden Quirk tries to get that ball out and falls short off of the cross of Jack McGuire. McGuire not able to field that ball cleanly. Luckily, St. Mary's has a midfielder in a position to clean that ball up, and they're looking to get a Gilman across that field, and there's the clock. We had a timeout call from Coach Field, a good heads-up timeout, as his team was struggling to get over that half mark for the clear call. St. Mary's going to take some time to reevaluate at how they're going to approach the final minutes of this 4th quarter here. I'd like to say thank you to our folks at home who have tuned in. I'm Sean Donahue from Lynn Educational Television. My crew here from Lynn Classical, and we're broadcasting this game to you from beautiful Manning Field here in our very own Lynn, Massachusetts, as the Lynn St. Mary's Spartans take on the Hamilton Wenham Generals. The Spartans leading the Generals 9-2 here in this game. looking for the ball. We found one. All right. Ref. Okay. We're good. St. Mary's with possession. They're going to be forced to clear across the half mark. St. Mary's is pushed out of bounds. They're going to lose that ball there. It's going to be a blue ball. He drops that ball to the ground. He's got to get back in position. Connor Butt there is forced out of bounds. St. Mary's now in a situation where they're not in position to play defense. Conley getting called for loose ball push. I thought it was a solid check. It was in the position. It was in between transition of that ball falling out of the cross to the ground. Hamilton Wenham going to walk away with the benefit of that call here. St. Mary's still in a man defense, doing a good job of staying tight and helping out those to their adjacents. Conley doing a little bit of work on the ground, not able to come away with that. St. Mary's long pole player does. He dishes it over to number 22 for the Spartans, Ben Kirby. Kirby now working to clear across the 50-yard line mark. He tries to find a pass help, but doesn't end up getting that ball into the stick cleanly. Matt Conley there with the quick check. St. Mary's now out of position on defense, and that leaves an opportunity for the Generals attackman wearing number 17 to sneak one past Caden Quirk here in the fourth quarter. Hamilton Wenham scores their third goal of the game. St. Mary's still leading 9-3 here as the final minutes of this fourth quarter tick down. I just want to say thanks to you who have been with us from the start of this game. I've seen a lot of good lacrosse from the Spartans as well as the Generals. Scoreboard says that the Spartans have performed a little bit better. I'm sure Coach Fields got a lot to say about that statement there. I'm sure he's happy. However, any coach looking to get to the playoffs understands that these games are these first few games are all about building, understanding where your weaknesses are and what the team's going to have to work on. After seeing so many penalties throughout this game on behalf of the Spartans, I'm sure Coach Field's going to have a little bit to say to his attack and midfield. St. Mary's doing a good job on defense here, especially playing in a man situation. Hamilton Wenham with a pretty deep bench, something we're not used to really seeing. Shot to the helmet. It's going to result in a penalty call for St. Mary's. That ball falls to the ground, changes possession, and Hamilton Wenham will end up serving themselves a penalty here in the fourth quarter. St. Mary's finding themselves in another man-up situation. The ball will be white possession. However, they did not cross the half mark, so I believe they're going to get a free clear here, and they are. All right, and we're at about the half mark here. St. Mary's with possession gets their touch inside the box. Number 7 here for the Spartans finding himself onto the field. Zach Barden. All right, correction in the game. Barden trying to bring himself out. Drawing the defender. St. Mary's trying to walk away with this win and no injuries. Barden gets a good hard check there. That ball bounces out. Hamilton Wenham still fighting for a win here. And a Gilman downfield results in a quick scoop for St. Mary's. I'm sorry, for the Generals. That countdown across the field for the penalty. That ball's still on the ground here in St. Mary's territory. We're going to get a loose ball push call here on blue. That ball's going to go white. Not sure it was intentional, but a long rolled ball sometimes can result in a delay of game. Sure, the referee is going to give the benefit of the doubt to Hamilton Wenham. 7 able to get across to the 50. That ball falls out of his cross. He dishes it over to 25 for the St. Mary's Spartans. Quick questionable call across the field over to 23. That ball rolls out of bounds. Not a shot. It's a pass. That's going to be an automatic transition for the Generals, but they will be forced to clear from their own territory. St. Mary's doing a good job at staying consistent on their game plan and trying to ride out these clears here with some of the younger players. 34 doing a good job. He's played every quarter so far. He's found himself fighting a lot for these ground balls after especially being checked. A lot of the legwork been done on the legs of 34 and 15 out of the Hamilton Wenham Generals. Shot attempt, bounce off the cross of Quirk. 14 working to come back inside of 18. He's not able to get the pass off to an attacker and sitting by the crease. That ball rolls out of bounds. That's going to be a white ball transition for the Spartans across the 50-yard line. They'll have to inbound from the alley. One minute left in the game here. St. Mary's is going to do everything that they can to count down the clock here in this game. Hamilton Wenham, if they stand a chance to score another goal, is going to have to play a little bit more aggressively. St. Mary's still looking for cutters at the X position, trying to get better at the things that they're working on this game. Jackson Field finding himself on the field. A couple of younger players from the Hamilton Wenham bench finding themselves onto the field. 8 can't get that ball cleanly. Finds the cross on number 22 for the Spartans. He comes back to right. He doesn't see much for an alley, so he passes up top to a midfielder. The St. Mary's Spartans doing everything they can to count down the final seconds here in the fourth quarter. So that'll be it at the end of 4. The St. Mary's Spartans walk away with their first win of the 2019 season, and they'll celebrate it like it's their last. A lot of interesting things that happened here for the Spartans. They've done a lot of growing since the end of last year. After losing in the second round of the playoffs to Ipswich, Coach Field trying to take control of his team and put these guys onto the same page, and I say so far it's going well. Scores for the game today: Nicholas Napolitano walks away with 3 goals, Jaden Moriello with 1, Brendan Laundrie with 3, and then Zach Barden with 2. The St. Mary's Spartans will face off against Matignon this Friday, April 5th, at Matignon. Congratulations to the St. Mary's Spartans. I'm Sean Donahue from LETV, thanking you, our viewers, for tuning in. My crew from Classical, wishing you all the best. Have a great day.